Hi friends, Deb Sofield here, and you're listening to my weekly radio show called Encouragement for Your Life. Many of you know I'm a national speaker and trainer, and as a coach, I help people find their voice and learn to use it. I'm also a conference speaker on the topics of public speaking, how to deal with the media, and crisis communication. If your organization is having a conference and you need a keynote speaker, I'd love to be a part. You can find me at debsofield.com. I've got a number of books on the market. My book series, Encouragement for Your Life, Tough Love Memos to help you fight your battles and change the world. Those are available on Amazon and on Kindle. My new book, Perfecting Your Platform, was just released, and you can find that on Amazon as well. I've got a great theme for today. It's a quote from the poet Rumi. Our friend, set your life on fire. Seek those who will fan your flame. I'm Deb Sofield. Stay with me. Let's get started with today's show. I have an amazing opportunity being a speaker and trainer, and lots of times I travel around the world teaching public speaking, presentations, and media skills to elected officials or those who would like to be. When I was speaking in the Middle East a while back, I was training some dynamic, up-and-coming young women who were seeking a seat on their local town council. And one day at lunch, I noticed that one of the ladies was reading a book of poetry by Rumi, a Persian poet and philosopher. I'd admit, it struck me a little unusual that someone would be carrying around a book of ancient poetry. And so, being a good visitor, friend, and teacher, I asked her about the book. What was she learning? And the reply was simply this. She said, "Well, Miss Deb, for me to grow beyond myself, I need to know what others say and think, and then decide for myself if their words are for my soul." Wow, pretty profound for a young lady who was looking to make her mark in the world. She then went on to extol the words of the ancient sage and encouraged me to learn about him and discover the wisdom of the ages. So I have, and in my study, I've come across quite a few reflective sayings that I've grown to appreciate. One is my topic for today, and it's from Rumi, who said, "Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames." Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. Yeah, there's a lot in that simple phrase, and I could probably talk about it for days, about the truth that lies within. But in our time together, I want to talk about you and those you associate with who should be fanning your flame for success. You know, as a coach, I see a lot of people who at one point in their lives set their hopes and dreams on fire and were supported by friends and family and co-workers to succeed. They worked very hard to make good things happen, and it was a joy to see their success that opened doors for them to be who they were born to be and do what they were born to do. Now there's the other side of the coin. For many years, I've seen those who were on fire but didn't have the support to help them push through to the end, and their flame burned out, and all that was left was really a puff of smoke of what could have been an amazing life. You know, life's funny like that. You start off with such hopes and dreams, like the ones I hear from a lot of the kids who are graduating this year. The world is their oyster. They have the world on a string. They see themselves as presidents of corporations and masters of industry. And I hope and pray that they continue to burn bright once they land their first job and begin their path to success. My hope for the kids of today is that they set their life on fire and do their heart's desire. Now, those of us who are a little older and wiser and who remember those days of enthusiasm for life and love and opportunity, I think it's important that we commit to fanning the flame of this generation so they can achieve their dreams. Don't be the kind of person who throws cold water on their parade. Our friend, be kind enough to let them find their way. Be strong enough to fan their flame for success. And let's be committed to helping them along their journey. I'm pretty sure many of us are doing our life's work because someone loved us enough to fan the flame we once set our lives on fire. And that's the key. Because remember, you are the only person that can set their life on fire. You have the final say on what you're going to do to change your world. You, dear listener, you are the only one who can step into the light and shine when you let your life, your hopes, and your dreams catch on fire and burn bright until you reach the end of your final destination, whatever that may be. I am somewhat mystified when I see amazing people who set their life on fire and then they partner with those who quench it. I see it all the time, and frankly, it makes me a little angry, I've got to admit. Whether it's someone who demands you give up your dreams for theirs, or someone whose heart's desire is to go into the ministry or military or missions, and others say no. Or whether you find great joy in working a job that perhaps doesn't pay all that well, but it fills your life with joy. And then your friends, well, so-called friends, belittle your position because it's not, quote, impressive enough. I have to tell you, I see it more than I could ever imagine. But here's the fact. No matter what it is, I think you would agree with me, it is heartbreaking when we see a life on fire be drenched with cold water that douses the flame, never to light again, because they partnered with someone who quenched their fire. And you know what's so sad? Is that when it happens, and I'm sure you have, you kind of meet like empty people living hollow lives because their joy is gone. Their ambition is weak at best, and for many, well, their spark's been snuffed out. We all know people whose lives have become dull and boring because they're just going through the motions of life with no real life being lived. The lights are on, but nobody's home. Now, friends, that is not a way to live. You've got to figure out what it will take to strike a match to relight your fire, even if you have to do it alone. And trust me, there are worse things than being alone, like being alone with someone who makes you feel alone. I know I've said that before, but I do like that quote because I think it's true, and unfortunately, I see it a lot, and I'm sure you do too. It's heartbreaking. I see it all the time because someone demanded that they had to be married, they had to take a job, they had to move to another place. Together, but alone, will kill your flame faster than any polar bear plunge ever will. Because not only will you not be on fire, but they won't help you fan the flame for success. I'm not sure what has put your fire out, but I do know that you're the only one who can relight it. And then you need to surround yourself with friends who are willing to fan your flames. Because if you stay with your loser group of friends who have no interest in helping you grow and be and become your best self, then you've set yourself up for failure. Because trust me, your loser friends will not fan your flame. And good luck with relighting a flame that is constantly being blown out by others. Now, here's the key. You don't blame others when your fire is out, or only flickering with no real warmth of success. Well, I guess you could blame others, but you and I both know that's a cop-out. Because if your fire is barely burning, only you can pour the gas on it to light it up again. You can't expect others to know how to help you get going when you've allowed your flame to die out. Friend, that's your responsibility. So stop blaming others. I tell you, I am so worn out with all the stories of bad marriages, unkind parents, loser friends, bad business partners, or anyone else I hear who blames other people for putting out their flame. Hey friend, they didn't put out your flame. They just didn't fan it for your success. So let's be honest with yourself and with others. You let it die out. Because let's just lay it on the line. Sometimes it's easier to be average, ordinary, or dull. Being a spark takes work. And for some, it's just too much work. Listen, I know for many at one time, friends and family did help fan the flame, and now they don't. No one really knows why, and that's okay. It could be that their lives have taken a different turn, and fanning your flame isn't a priority. And although it's disappointing, you really can't blame them since it's not their responsibility to set you on fire. You're responsible for your flame, your life, your light, and the warmth that it creates. And while you've been waiting around, some of you for years, for someone else to light your fire or fan your flame, well, it's burnt out. So now you got to make some choices. My hope today is that you choose once again to set your life on fire. Because friends, you've got a lot to offer. You have so much to offer others with your wisdom, your knowledge, your insight, and your expertise. You have a lot that you could give back that would be of great help to others if you would just recall the warmth of the flame that you let die out. Here's the truth. You have so much to teach others about living a life on fire as you fan their flame for success. Imagine. No, really, just imagine. What would happen if you reset your life on fire? You just might be the guiding light to others who've lost their way. Your life on fire might be all that's needed to encourage others to do what they were born to do. Your life on fire might be the light at the end of the tunnel that some people need to see to gain strength for their journey. Your life on fire could change everything for you and others. And friend, if you're strong enough to fan the flame for others, you might change their world. And who knows, when they catch on fire, what good they can do for others, all because you, yes, you, dear listener, woke up and lit the flame. Gotta tell you, love that story. I can still remember the young lady in my class and clutching a book of poetry, and I'm thinking, rarely in America do I see that. But overseas, she knew that she wanted to change her life, and one way she was going to do it was by learning the wisdom of the ages. All right, friends, I'm Deb Sofield. You're listening to Encouragement for Your Life. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to talk about how you can help others and how you need to watch out for others. Stay tuned. I'll be right back after the break. Hi, friends. Deb Sofield here. I'm a national speaker and an executive speech and presentations coach. I've been in the battlefield of politics and business for over 30 years. I know and understand how the game works. In today's marketplace, you don't have a choice. We're in the media age of Twitter, blogs, Facebook, and 24-hour news cycles. Either you move quickly and decisively to define your product, your company, or yourself, or others will define you. You can't afford to miss the mark because the public won't give you a second chance and the media is unforgiving, and YouTube will replay your remarks until you've been ground into dust. Whether it's crafting your message to protect you or your company, or putting you on camera to answer the questions that will resonate with reporters and the public, or preparing you for an interview, let me help you be successful. I'm Deb Sofield. Find me online at debsofield.com. That's debsofield.com. Hey friends, welcome back. Let me continue with my theme today, which is set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flame. And as I was thinking about this topic today, I think there's two types of people we need to talk about. First of all, I would like to talk to you about protecting yourself from people who just aren't kind and people who, for some reason, seem to want to hurt you. And then I'd like to talk about what you and I can do to be a positive force for good for people who really need us in their life. The Dalai Lama once said, "Let go of people who only come to share their complaints, problems, disastrous stories, fear, and judgment of others. If someone's looking for a bin to throw away their garbage, make sure it's not your mind." Very, very good line. And the fact is, you and I know people who all they want to do is complain, and they talk about fear and they judge others. That should not be a part of our life if we're looking to have a positive life that leaves a legacy. So in order for us to protect ourselves from what I'm going to call toxic people, I came across an article called Exploring Your Mind, and it's some rules and things to keep in mind if you are around toxic people. So here we go. The headline says, there are many types of toxic people who are jealous, envious, possessive, pessimistic, authoritarian, and manipulative. And we have to live with these people every day at work, in our friend group, and sometimes, unfortunately, maybe in our family. Our attitude and our ability to deal with folks like this is what will determine whether we become influenced negatively by them, or can we hold our own. Allowing them to invade our thoughts or letting them create discomfort in us is really something we can and should avoid. And we've got to learn to protect ourselves from what I'm going to call toxic people. And here's a few things that you and I can do. Probably the most important is stop giving them so much importance. Toxic people are there. Okay, we know it. But friend, are you allowing them to make your free time bitter or better? When you realize that they don't affect you just inside, they can be controlling of the whole situation, you need to stop and think about how you pull yourself away from them. And you do that by distancing yourself. I mean, what's the point of the fight and burn yourself out by taking on this other person? I think it would be important for a lot of us to simply distance ourselves, wish them the best, and get on with our lives. Unfortunately, you probably live with folks like this, so you may not be able to distance yourself from them, but what you could do is let them know that you're not going to fall for this small-minded, bitter behavior and move away from them and move towards good people who can help build you up. Be careful with folks who are like this. Don't tell them your secrets, your business, or anything that you are doing that would make them even more jealous than they already are. And I think probably the most important thing for so many, when you run across somebody like this, you just need to realize they are broken people. So we can only forgive them, we can move past them, and we can go and live the joyous life that we've been given. I just think it's important that we recognize there are toxic, mean, unkind people in the world, but we don't have to be their friend. We can be polite, we can wish them well to the best of our ability, and we can move on. And moving on is how I believe so many folks will be able to survive the onslaught that probably may be heading your way simply due to their jealousy of you. I came across an interesting article by Karen Dempsey, and she says this: envy attacks, what they are and how to survive them. And I love this quote by Harold Coffin. Envy is the art of counting other people's blessings instead of your own. Envy is an emotion that, believe it or not, is somewhat unconscious in a lot of people, but it comes from being focused on other people's successes and wanting to bring them down because of it. Envy's kind of shadowy. It can be passive aggressive, bent on destroying what that person can't have. And they say that envy involves two people. Jealousy involves three. It's two people and one always feeling bad. But envy is just two people. The envious person may deeply want what the other person has and feels frustrated at not being able to have it. We know that envy is often rooted in low self-esteem, and envious people do what we call compare and despair, and they always find themselves wanting. So, remember the line from Zig Ziglar, the only taste of success most people have is when they take a bite out of you? Yeah, that's an envious person. These are folks who can be very competitive, and they really almost take pleasure in someone else's misfortune. You see this on social media a lot. And I think for some folks who get, especially the young people who are so caught up in social media, I think we need to tell our kids to turn off the computer, go outside, and do something positive. If you run into people who really are overflowing with envy, you'll notice them because they are always putting you down, either overtly or subtly. They like to provoke a reaction in you, from anger to sadness to outrage, and then they stand back and they watch the whole thing burn down. One thing you'll notice about people who are very envious is that they undermine your opinion or stance on things. So after a while, you begin to doubt yourself because you're thinking, well, am I the only one who thinks this way? No, they put things in place to start to tear you down. Folks who really thrive on envy, they have to show off about every tiny achievement or accomplishment of their kids or anybody they know, even if it's modest or really not there. And they do that because they're constantly trying to show that they are, quote, better than you, when in the fact they just want to be you. You see that because they use sarcasm a lot. They say they're being funny. They poke fun at your achievements and mock what you believe. That's not being funny. That's a very sick and broken person. This is the person that when you buy a new car and you're happy about it, they'll go buy a bigger and better car. So let me just remind you, when you run up against somebody like this and you start to feel small, you just need to stop, turn around, and don't let their insults stick to you. You can smile and nod and show that their words really aren't getting to you because it doesn't matter. Whatever you do, don't apologize for who you are and what you believe. You don't have to hide your good fortune just because somebody wants to punish you for it. No, you live out loud, you live positively, you become a light for others, because we're seeing this type of behavior, in a sense, run rampant with this generation that's constantly trying to cancel people out when they can't get their way or what they want. Here's the key. You need to find your team who will fan your flame. Your friends who believe in you, your family members who love you no matter what. And friend, move forward and stop looking back. You know the old line, don't look backward, you're not going that way. So don't back up, let's move forward so you can live the life that you were born to live. That's your calling. So let me flip it to the other side, because I think some of you, you're smart enough to stay away from these crazy people. But what I'd like to remind you is that as adults or leaders or people who folks look up to, I think sometimes we might have to give a little more than we normally do, because we've got to support some people so they can find their best. I found an interesting article from Michael Anger, who said this. He said, one of the greatest responsibilities we have is to support ourselves and others in living at our highest and best. Whether we're parents or friends or leaders, it's our duty as just good people to help others live to their potential. With everything we say and do, you and I are influencing others, either positively or negatively. We influence the people we care about, and even those who look to us and are envious. So the ideal is to do this with consideration and intention. And so the author goes on to give you a few things that you and I can do starting today to help build the good in others up so they can find their path and they can burn brightly because you and I are fanning the flame. Probably the most important is we can let those who we know, who we are mentoring, who we are caring about, that we believe in them. Listen, everybody has some self-doubt from time to time. Your confidence may be shaking, or maybe you lack the faith in your talent and skills. So having someone believe in you at times like this is priceless. Friend, you and I should be that person. We know that history is full of great stories of men and women who were saturated with examples of someone who believed in them even when they fully didn't believe in themselves. I think the next thing is we've got to learn to encourage others. If we say things like, you can do it, I know you can do it, these are words that are too often not spoken out loud. And I think sometimes we have to be verbal in our praise, sincerely encouraging others and helping them stay the course. I would add that the more specific you are, the better the result. You can also remind someone that although it was tough last time, they got through it, and they're better for it. It's our responsibility as good people to be role models. I think we do that through our actions and our words. We need to be role models. People are looking at us, whether you think they are or not. I'm here to tell you as a coach, I see and I hear it all the time. So let's be good ones. I know it's tough. If your schedule's like mine, it's hard to, in a sense, share ourselves. But I think it's important if and when we can, that we spend time with folks who are going through hard times, even if it's just a shoulder to cry on or a friend to take them out for a quick cup of coffee. Let people know that you're there and that you care. I think it's important that we acknowledge folks. We find in them what they are looking for in others. And we help them find the best in themselves. Because what's interesting, you can see it in them, but they might not be able to. So I think it's important that instead of catching people doing wrong, which people like to do, let's catch people doing right. And let's tell them that they're doing well. Acknowledge their good deed to others. Let's praise them in front of others so we can help them be their very best. And of course, in the work that you and I do in helping others, we will have to give perhaps our most precious resource, which is our time. We'll spend time with friends. We'll help develop this next generation. We'll be the person they can call on, not as a crutch, but as somebody who will fan their flame. Because I think it is so important, friends, that you and I, we become the people who can help others. Some listening today, maybe you didn't have people fanning your flame and you've achieved it on your own. And for that, I say congratulations. But you and I can turn around and help others burn brightly into the light that they were born to be. My quote today is from Rumi, the poet. Set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flame. And friend, I believe that's all of our jobs, to help this next generation find their place in the world and then thrive. Because for some of us, somebody did that for us. I think it's important we do it for others. Not only just because it makes the world a better place, but it makes us better people when we give a bit of our heart, soul, and mind to success in the lives of others. Generational success, to give people a chance where perhaps they didn't have one. And wouldn't that be exciting to know that you and I were part of that? Oh, dear listener, this week, this month, this year, set your life on fire. Seek those who fan your flames. And then let's in turn fan the flames of others, so that little spark glows into a roaring fire. And knowing that you and I were part of someone else's success, well, that's a legacy worth leaving. I'm Deb Sofield. You've been listening to Encouragement for Your Life. Thanks for joining me this Saturday. I look forward to connecting next week. Have a good one, everybody.